Go, and we're back, guys. Welcome back from the holiday period where Charles and I are now back talking all things ecom. So yeah, it's been a good break. I don't think we've had a really solid chat since after Black Friday. A lot of things that happened there that we saw some really good results, and also we can kind of, I guess, go into what we're working on this year and kind of the results we're seeing on little things that we're implementing as well. So I think, especially for myself, I think other than the Google Ads, which is what I focus on a lot, I think the number one thing that I'm focusing on in Q1 for this year is email marketing, and I've definitely gone down that rabbit hole. So we do email marketing for a couple of clients that are on our Google Ads offering, but now I'm rebranding, I guess, the email marketing side as its own brand and creating that as its own service now. So
Nice.
I've gone down the rabbit hole a lot deeper now because and the clients that I do have, they expect a really high quality service from Google Ads, and I want to offer a service of similar high quality for the email marketing side as well. So I think it's sometimes a thing that agencies get wrong. They just want the clients. They don't really care, what their results are like at the end of the day. I'm kind of the opposite. I prefer to take on less clients, retain the ones that I do have with good results. So to be able to do that, you need a win-win scenario where if they're paying for your service, you're getting them over and above the results that they could even imagine. So yeah, it's what I'm focusing Q1 on for my business, but also really wanting to learn more and go down the email marketing rabbit hole as deep as possible.
That sounds good, Jimmy. I think, yeah, it's a very valuable addition, I think, to a service that you're already offering. Google Ads obviously is great at driving more traffic to your store, but then it's also retaining that traffic and nurturing customers that are already on your list, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think the other thing that we're both experimenting with, and we've chatted about a lot, just because it's a win-win for all our clients, is push notifications too. Like if an e-commerce store doesn't have them running, it's like free money. It's you can get certain apps that will be free to try, and they're basically free money spinners. So if you don't have push notifications on your e-commerce store, just download one and yeah, get it running. We will have training for it in the group. I've almost finished it, so it should be done in a couple of weeks. So I'll give that training out for free to anyone that wants it in the group. So just let me know, and I'll send it your way, and you can start making some free revenue in 2025 to get you off and running.
Yeah, no, you told me about this, Jimmy. I can't remember how long ago. It must be, well, it's certainly probably 3 to 4 months ago, and I tested it out for one of my clients in the automobile. They sell parts and accessories, and I was absolutely amazed by the results. We set up some campaigns. I don't think they even had the software until early November time, so they were late to get things set up. And then I ran a few campaigns over Black Friday and Cyber Monday, and they brought in an extra 10K just from a few campaigns that took me probably no longer than an hour to set up. And I think by the end, they had, before Black Friday, leading up to it, they had 2,000 subscribers from the days prior to when they installed the software. So I think all in all, it was like within the space of about 18 days, they had over 2,000 subscribers and then an extra 10K. And then I just did this for them as I wasn't contracted to do this for them, but I wanted to test it out and see. And then they actually themselves ran their own campaign at the end of the year and brought in another 7K. So I know for sure if they could continue that, even if they did one or two of those a month, that's potentially an extra, 5
Yeah,
to 20K extra a month.
if you think about too, so they've only just installed it potentially in November. Like how many more subscribers they'll have this coming November for their Black
Yeah.
Friday? Like it could be like potentially really powerful channel to drive additional revenue.
I think they were also, I know leading up, I need to check the data again, but they were averaging around 120 new subscribers a day as well. And obviously you need to have a decent amount of traffic to be able to get those numbers. But still, I was pretty amazed at how quickly they could see results.
Yeah, I find kind of across the board it converts visitors at about 6%. So if you're wondering how many subscribers you can get, just have a look at your monthly web traffic and times that by, and 6% of that's potentially how many subscribers you could be gaining every month. It's kind of a ballpark estimation of, I guess, how many people you're missing out on. If you times that for November, you can kind of work out, hey, how many subscribers you'll potentially have leading into November. And then, yeah, it's a really cool tool. Um, it's so simple to use. The only it's even it's hard from a service offering because it's so easy to set up that I don't even feel like right charging for a service, but these clients are so swamped with time that they just don't do
Yeah,
it themselves, and I'm not going to do it for free. So it's almost like, yeah, well, if you don't want to do it, I will do it, but it's not a really high like time consuming task. It's like I could get it done each month quite quickly, but I think especially for those kind of things, sometimes you just got to look at the value add more than how long it's going to take you. So even if it's going to take me, you know, an hour or two a month, they can potentially drive, even in your case, Charles, an extra 10K revenue a month. They're just going to be like, yeah, well, we don't have time to do it, so just sort it out for us, and yeah, we'll just take the extra revenue.
no, exactly. I mean, I always say, do clients want you to spend more time on their campaign, or do they want to see results? They want to see results. Whether it takes you half an hour or 30 hours a month, they would much rather get those results. And yeah, I find, it's something actually that I reached out to my client. I'm waiting to hear back from them to say, look, I'm happy to run these campaigns. I probably wouldn't charge too much for them to do it, but I certainly would charge something because I know that as they get more and more busier, even if they see there's value there, often it gets put on the back burner and they forget to set these things up. Certainly on a regular basis. If I was running it, I would be doing at least testing out a couple of campaigns a month, not just during the busy period. So yeah,
I'm
it's
finding like especially some of my clients that I do more than just Google Ads on. Just improving the fundamentals across the board is having like a massive, massive impact. Could be, you know, upgrading your website so it's a high converting website. Actually, you might be interested in this, Charles. Something that we're testing at the moment is in Shopify, you can put in meta fields for products. So basically, you can create your own meta fields, whether it's like a flavor of a product or size or whatever meta field you want. But for this particular supplement company, we've put in the meta fields of consumption. So basically, how long it would take them to finish the product if they were taking it as prescribed. So, for example, it might take them 30 days, might take them 60 days. But then what we're doing is importing those tags into our email marketing service. And, if they're going to finish in 30 days, we'll send them like an email 20 days out saying, hey, it's almost time to you know, restock this particular item. So we've basically created I guess what you call a replenishment flow based on metadata that we've, put at a product level on the site. But filling out all the product data too is also really important for your Google feed too. So it's just these little things that people don't even look at. That if they put in all the available data to them, it just helps across so many channels that they don't even realize.
yeah, yeah. Well, I guess that leads us on to, one thing I was thinking about, like us discussing today was, given the fact that we're still in the first month of the year, is mapping out what kind of marketing channels e-commerce stores should be focusing on for 2025. Like, and maybe we can run through in a little bit more detail about each one and from our kind of own personal experience, what we're doing with our clients.
Yeah, and to be honest, if you had asked me this question like a month ago, I probably would have said TikTok. But at the moment, with everything that's happening in
Hmm.
the US, I'd probably say
Yeah.
just hold off on TikTok until there's stability there and you know what's happening. You don't want to be putting all this time and effort and then TikTok gets banned in the US and that will significantly decrease, the reach on the platform and people potentially jump to other platforms. So in terms of putting a whole lot of time and effort into that early this year, I'd be holding off on TikTok. What are your thoughts on
Yeah,
that? I know
yeah.
you're big into that realm of you know political conspiracies, Charles.
Well, the latest that I've seen is that that's pretty much already been reversed with Trump coming in. And I saw a few
I heard
people in the
the
US.
I heard the I thought the same thing, but someone today was telling me that the ban is reversed, but you still can't update the app or anything like that at the moment. So you can
Okay,
still use, because there was yesterday, I think you couldn't even use it if you're in the States. I think you can use it now, but the I think I'd have to double check this, but I think it's still not available in the app stores. So yeah, I'm not
interesting.
sure 100%, but yeah, it sounds like Trump's going to make something work with it, and I mean, he's got such a large audience on there. He wants it anyway, so he's probably got other agendas on getting it back up and running. But yeah, in terms of your Q1, maybe hold off on making TikTok a priority for the
Yeah.
meantime.
Yeah, you might be right there. I think a couple of things that I've noticed that Meta to kind of counter that or to try and extract more users to their platform is that I think they're copying they're copying TikTok's 3 minute reels, so you can have longer reels on Instagram now. And one other thing that I kind of noticed was that I don't know whether this was just in the last few days, I've noticed the number of people viewing my stories has just like almost doubled, and for no apparent reason. Like, from what I've not changed my strategy, I've not. So whether they're just increasing the reach of profiles, I don't know. But it seems like they're
Yeah,
doing
or
some
maybe
form of
or maybe all the
experimentation.
all the TikTok users have jumped back over to Instagram, and now you're getting those views.
Yeah, that might be. Yeah, it could possibly be why. Yeah, that there's more engagement now on Instagram purely because not many people are able to access TikTok.
Yeah, well, in saying that, like if you were gonna use a platform, I probably well, actually, what would be your top one first, Charles? So, like, if you were a brand, what platform would you focus on? I think
I would
for me,
probably.
for me, it's an actual media type that you could use across many platforms. For me, and I said this in a previous episode when we talked about Amazon using a lot of money to pour into Amazon influencers to get video of product reviews or products. I still think product videos is going to really help your store in 2025. Whether you use those on YouTube or Instagram, I don't think it matters. Or Facebook, I think the video content matters. So if your brand hasn't adopted adding video to kind of their content calendar, um, I would start doing that. And I had a chat with my client that sells supplements the other day. I'm like, look, let's start getting your best sellers, and their strengths are they're naturopaths, so they've got that unique selling point that they can talk about the product at a high level and with the qualification. Like, let's start getting your best sellers, and just doesn't have to be long. It can be 20 to 30-second video of like, hey, this is magnesium. You could use it to help you sleep, help this, help that. If you're thinking about getting it, I would recommend this brand, and this is why. And end of video, done. And if you put that on next to the product as a video, and someone sees that, I think it's going to have a big impact on conversion rates, but also that short form content you can use across Instagram and Facebook Reels or whatever. And if someone sees that and they're like, oh yeah, like I haven't been sleeping that well lately, maybe I will try some magnesium, see if it helps. So yeah, I think for me, it's not so much necessarily about the platform. I think it's creating video content is going to have a pretty big impact too.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I would firstly probably look at who your target audience is, having a clear idea of who your kind of customer persona is. And then
Yeah, I mean,
from
like
that basic,
if you're
yeah.
selling like toilet paper, you're not going to go out videos. But
No,
yeah,
yeah.
depends on like the audience and yeah, the product too, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Like, obviously, if you're selling to a younger crowd, then actually TikTok is probably your best option in terms of a platform, assuming obviously it's going to be still available in the US, which is obviously a huge market. But maybe if it's an older crowd, maybe Facebook ads is a better option. So yeah, I think having a clear idea, firstly, who your customer is, and then basing it off of that. But I think now there's a mixture. You know, there's people that are in their 60s that are on Instagram, whereas maybe 5 years ago they were just on Facebook. There's a real mixture, and even TikTok's probably over the time the age range of people using it is going to get older as well.
Yeah, and I think like I know this it's spoken about a lot this week on probably everyone's feeds, but like not being over leveraged on one platform,
Yes.
especially like the creators that were only TikTok and didn't diversify into any other platforms, they would have probably been, thinking like, oh, have I done the right thing here? Once, they lost access to TikTok for a day. So yeah, it just shows that, you want to be across multiple platforms, and you don't want to have a sole reliance just on one.
And also building up your own, we talked about at the beginning, building up your own email list, actually owning, because that's the most powerful thing about email, isn't it? You have access to that data, and you're not reliant on one of these big social media platforms that could easily change legislation and pull the plug and go dark as TikTok did.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm still like the email marketing stuff is interesting, and even though you own the old, that data, you still have to be like careful with it because you need to maintain good deliverability rates and high open rates. So if you're just kind of spamming your list and it's a low quality email list, you're probably going to get banned off like the
Yeah.
email marketing service provider too. You won't lose the emails, obviously, but you should have them backed up somewhere anyway. You can go somewhere else, but yeah, you need to even if you do own your own data, you still got to be responsible with it, and you still got to like analyze it and use it efficiently.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, like any platform, you've still got to have the right strategy behind it. Whether it's building up an email list, sending out campaigns, running Facebook ads. If you spam on that platform, then yeah, you're gonna come into some problems, aren't you?
Yeah. So what are you focusing on this year, Charles? Because I know we had a little chat not long ago, and it sounded like you were moving towards more kind of SEO advertorial services, which I think we could talk about now in the place, even the chat that we had about the places that they can be used. I see a high use for them in uh, replacing about us pages with kind of advertorials, and I know that like you were potentially talking about using it as a for a product landing page type thing, which I think is a great use case for it as well. But yeah, like tell us a little bit more about kind of what you're wanting to focus on, I guess, this year in terms of what your SEO service offering will look like, and yeah, what you're hoping to do.
Yeah, so actually, I'm in the process. I'm working alongside a web developer designer. I'm looking at building out an offer to build out these advertorial SEO landing pages, or maybe we'll give it a certain name for kind of branding perspective. But yeah, I really see these as kind of a valuable alternative just to written blogs. I think I wrote a post, I think it was last week, saying that blogs can still be great for improving rankings, driving more traffic to your website. But the problem with blogs is a lot of people will consume the content, they'll find the content, they consume it, and then they may just bounce off of your website. So they're not even really, you don't give them the opportunity to even present your products. Whereas the advantage of advertorial landing pages is you can talk about particular topics or informational blog type topics, but you can also present in a nicely designed landing page and embed some related products within that page. So they're more likely to actually, when you're consuming that content, potentially click through and purchase a product. So we're experimenting with kind of building out an offer whereby we have almost different packages that we could offer clients. So we have, we'll just create the landing page and the design. The package two would be we'll create the design and then we'll build it on your Shopify store. And then step three is we'll also create the copy and we'll optimize for SEO as well. And I also see these pages very valuable for running paid ads too as well.
Yeah.
As I'm sure you can probably talk more about this as well, that when you're trying to rank for product pages, you're ranking for kind of transactional keywords, so your cost per click is going to be higher. Whereas with these advertorial pages, you can also rank for kind of informational keywords, drive a lot more traffic, probably reduce your cost per click down, and still maybe get the same level of results in
Yeah, I
terms
think
of
I think for
conversions.
especially for Google Ads, it's almost like creating a page that's so good and the information is so good, and you've got the product option there that they don't have to do further research, and you've taken them from that informational query to, yeah, this is exactly what I want, and they buy on the spot. That's the advantage there. It's definitely worth testing. Still think the cost per acquisition will be slightly higher than transactional keywords, obviously, but you're able to tap into like a more higher top of funnel audience that you wouldn't have been able to otherwise, um, without kind of an advertorial piece, I guess.
Yeah. No, I think yeah. So that's kind of one thing that I'm working on at the moment that I'm going to be testing out for a couple of clients as well, just to see the impact versus just creating standard blogs. And I just think with the age of kind of video marketing as well, people are consuming it in a different way. They're not
Mm.
necessarily wanting to read a 3,000 word blog guide or resource.
And
So I think,
especially with AI, those like long form blogs. I think the key thing for advertorials is the design, because the content, like AI is getting so good now. Like I'm not sure if you're the same, Charles, but if I have a question, I'm asking AI now, and the answers are really high quality. And it could punch out a blog article with everything that I wanted to know really quickly. So the like blogs itself used to carry a lot higher value because, it'd take a lot of research to write them and to get valuable references and resources. But now it's like you can punch out a 3,000 word article on AI in 2 minutes. So I
yeah,
think how it's presented and how it looks is almost as important, if not more so, than the content itself.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm also looking at, I think it's going to be a very interesting year for Google as well, because there's no doubt that with the emergence of these kind of AI chatbots that are now, some of which are turning into people actually using them as search engines, particularly like ChatGPT. I think Perplexity are the two that use some search functions. That how much of an impact that's going to be in terms of people changing the way that they're searching. Looking into the data, there's no doubt that Google still have a large market share, but I think we would be lying to our audience if we said that these other AI tools are not a threat to Google.
Even Google itself is like killing off its own organic traffic to other people's sites. Because I mean, if I type an informational query on Google now, the first answer is an AI generated answer. So, and a lot of
Yep.
the time, it's not too bad. So, I'm not actually visiting a website at all. I'm just reading the top answer AI generated by Google. So that means people that are relying on that organic traffic from Google to, drive traffic to their site, it's going to start drying up a little bit.
Interestingly, I had a conversation with an old business friend of mine, and we were talking about this, the changes in terms of search behavior and the platforms that people may use in the future. One thing that was quite interesting, he said that he knew someone that worked for OpenAI, and he was saying like how much money that they're actually losing on a monthly basis at the moment, and they're rumored to be potentially incorporating ads into like ChatGPT, which will be interesting to see how they do that. And there may be a scenario where, well, I think there will be, where the future of search will be, AI search consultants, and our roles will evolve as well. You might have the traditional platform Google, but also understanding how the AI chatbot algorithms work to show particular websites, I think is going to be a valuable skill set to know.
Oh,
But I don't
definitely.
think, yeah. So
Even
there's a lot of
it like
changes
rings
coming.
it rings a bell. Like one of my clients, they were looking up like this particular client sells like water skis and things like that, and they were looking up the best water skiing company in their location, and it was bringing up their competitors in AI search, and they're like, Jimmy, how do we show up in this AI search? And I was like, well, to be honest with you, I haven't researched it, and I'm not exactly sure where it's pulling the data from, so I don't know. But I still don't know because I haven't looked into it. But it's something that I'm interested in, and definitely if they do open an ad platform, it's something that I'd be very open to experimenting with.
Well, yeah, it makes sense. It's almost a kind of natural transition. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see. And I do think Google have dropped the ball on AI. I think they were late to roll things out. I know that they're kind of integrating Gemini into not just search, but more of their products. I saw they'd integrated more into Gmail now, so you can kind of summarize emails and. But yeah, technology is.
So this is a bit off left center for e-commerce, but I did see this in a few forums this week that Microsoft are actually, so if you buy the Microsoft package, which I do just for editing documents here and there on my computer, but they're automatically including AI in that package now for an extra $50, but it's the default package. So when people are paying for their renewal, it's automatically $50 more, whether you're using that AI or not. So a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not using this, so they just cancel the AI portion and it went back to what they were paying originally. But if they're doing that, they really should send out an email notifying clients like, hey, we've added this to the service. It's addition. If you don't want it, remove it at some point. But yeah, AI is starting to be pushed down everyone's throat at the moment, and rightfully so. I think in terms of it saves so much time. It makes a lot of people's lives that much easier. So yeah, it's just a matter of using it in the right way. But especially for your e-commerce store, yeah, using a lot of bulk actions, especially around title descriptions and product titles and product descriptions, like using it for that, I think is a good use case, especially if you've got good templates and good data on what's actually converting well.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting. One thing I found. So I've just actually set up a newsletter this year. It's almost just like a memoir of different lessons and experiences. I'm talking about kind of an array of different subjects. One of which
Drop it
being
here.
cert.
How can people sign up to the newsletter?
I'll drop a link
Put
to
it in the
it
show notes.
in the show notes. Yeah, Travis notes. I'm calling it. And actually, what I've been doing is I've been taking, like Jimmy as well. We write on Facebook, kind of on our personal profiles every day. Just try and commit, don't we, to one per day. And I've been taking my Facebook post, going into Claude.ai, and actually converting that into a newsletter, and just making sure that I'm trying to keep the same tone of voice. And I found that worked really well with a little bit of training. I find that Claude is better than ChatGPT when it comes to taking some copy that you've written and writing it in a style which it doesn't feel too AI written. Sometimes you read AI content, it's AI.
Yeah.
Whereas I find with Claude, it can, it's more powerful when it comes to written content than ChatGPT. So that's just something that you guys may want to experiment with when it comes to content. Is if you are writing a piece of content for one marketing channel or platform, is taking that content and getting AI to create it in another format for a different platform.
I mean, like, for example, like, I take my yearly goals and feed it into AI and say, act as a business life coach and break this down so I'm hitting my goals every month to hit my target end of year goals. And it's basically like your own personal coach. But
That's a good
I think
idea.
I think a lot of
Yeah.
people for their e-commerce store, especially the ones that are stuck, like they can go in and fully describe their situation, where they're at and where they want to get to, and ask ChatGPT to give them a roadmap to hit whatever targets they want to hit. So, yeah, it's great for inspiring ideas and brainstorming. Like it's phenomenal, and the amount of data that it has too. It's basically if you ask ChatGPT is very much you ask the right questions, you're going to get some really good answers. And I'm finding that more and more, even for, I tried it for something really specific the other day. My brother, who is a Sparky, we were just testing it, and he's like, oh, it'll never replace this. He asked it some really technical question about what to change on a switchboard if something broke down on a crane. and he used like Sparky terminology. Um, oh, sorry, Sparky is the kind of slang word for electrician in Australia, but yeah, he fed that into ChatGPT and it spat out an answer, and he was like, you know what, there's maybe one thing that I would change in there, but it's pretty bloody good. It just shows that it doesn't just solve the surface level questions you've been having. It's got like knowledge of technical details that it takes people 10, 20 years to learn. It's got all that data saved in it now. It's crazy. So if you're struggling with something and you need to basically bounce some ideas, especially in the e-commerce space, it's a phenomenal place to start. I would definitely be using it. If you're not using it already, you're missing out. Like the next time you go to ask someone what you should be doing, just take a step back and ask ChatGPT first, and then see what kind of responses you get. And then if you do still want to ask someone next time, you can kind of go in with it with a few more ideas to bounce off and brainstorm. And it almost shows the person you're asking, oh wow, they've actually done their homework on this, and you may have spent 10 minutes on AI platforms.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think, yeah, whether you're running an e-commerce store or you're working for an e-commerce store, in any field, any industry, if you're not looking at AI and figuring out how to use it to improve, your processes, the way you think, um, you're going to be left behind. And I think that's the harsh truth of it. This is not a kind of something that's just a fad.
Yeah.
This is here to stay, and the genie is out of the box. For the people that use it and adapt, you're going to really thrive moving forward. For those that don't, I think they're going to be in for a scary awakening, because there's going to be a lot of jobs over the next 5 to 10 years that are going to be made redundant, just no longer available. And yeah, you're going to need to learn how to use these tools.
There's a content creator I follow. I'm pretty sure his handle is the Surfer AI, and he basically shows a new AI tool every day. He's got amazing branding. All his videos are done by AI, so it's a video of him down the bottom, but it's just a photo of him, and his mouth moves with like his voice that he's recorded in AI, so it sounds and looks like him. But yeah, he highlights a new AI tool every day. It's actually really good to follow if you just want to see what's coming and what's out there. And even today, I saw him post an AI tool where you can take a photo of anyone. This particular example used Marilyn Monroe, and then there was another picture just of a pizza, and then it shows Marilyn Monroe eating the pizza. It's crazy, but people can use this for their own products. Obviously, don't use celebrities, because you probably will get yourself into some copyright issues potentially. But even if you want to experiment with, just take like a photo of everyone in your workplace and then use that for social content. Hey, these are all automatically generated. Which ones do you guys think is working the best? And yeah, make it engaging and fun. But yeah, the Surfer AI, follow him on social media if you kind of want to get an overview of all the tools that are coming out and how people are using them. Yeah, because I've found a few hidden gems just from his posts. Actually, the noise cancellation that I use in client meetings, I found through them. Basically, it's an AI app on your computer that removes all the background noise if you're on a client calls. I have a 3-year-old that's home with me a lot, and he's often screaming down the bottom of the staircases, "Daddy, Daddy, come downstairs, Daddy." And, if I was on a client call without that AI, that's all the client would be hearing. So, yeah, there's some great tools that you can use for different things. Fathom's another good one for
Yeah.
if you're on client calls. It notifies them that the Fathom Notes is on there, and then it summarizes the call for you, and it gives you all the action steps you've agreed to take at the end of the call. It pretty much negates you having to note take on any of your calls at all.
Yeah, I love Fathom. I started using that last year, and I was like, this is a game changer. You can just
Yeah.
also do follow up. You can say, oh, what are the action steps from this meeting, and you can create
It's
further
funny
notes
as
from
well
that.
because sometimes, like I work with different mentors for my own things that I'm working on too, and when they have group calls, it's like people on the group, and then it's like, Jimmy's Fathom notes and then Charles's Fathom notes. They're like all different people within the call. So everyone's got their own AI in these group calls, and then it summarizes the call for them. And then you can actually ask Fathom questions about the call as well. So if it was a 2-hour call and you're like, oh, what did he say about this? You can just ask the AI and it'll tell you and break it down for you. So yeah, the ease in which you can do these things now with AI is amazing. So if you're not utilizing it, people are like, oh, I don't know what to use it for. If you don't know what to use it for, tell ChatGPT everything that you've got going on and ask it, hey, where can I like implement AI to make my life a little bit easier or help me in certain aspects? And it will tell you.
Mm.
If you don't know how to use it, ask it. So it could be your first problem that you need to solve.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, it's a good first step. Good first step for sure. But I mean, if we think the last 12 months was crazy in terms of with technology and how much that has evolved, then yeah, this 2025 will certainly be interesting. I think agents is probably going to be the next step
Yeah.
in this revolution. You'll actually have, rather than have to hire for certain roles, you'll be able to use AI agents.
I think potentially agencies pricing I say may because it may potentially come down because I see the large agencies now. I see heavy staff culling in those large agencies, replacing with AI agents that you just mentioned. And yeah, I think some of these larger agencies, their overheads are actually going to drop, so they can actually start charging people what their services are actually worth rather than what they need to charge to support their rent and all their staff. Um, yeah, I think a lot of businesses have been pulling marketing agencies up with like exuberant prices. It's crazy, but I think we'll see a really big shift in that space this year too.
No, I think you're right. But I think probably for the last couple of years, these big agencies have started to struggle because I think a lot of clients are waking up to the fact that a lot of it's just fluff. These clients, they'll charge for these fancy presentations and stuff that doesn't really matter. And then you've got, a huge amount of account managers working for these agencies that really are just communicating back and forth from the client to the specialist that is working behind the scenes. And I think a lot of clients are realizing they'd much prefer to work with a far leaner agency and speak to that specialist directly that's not going to charge them a fortune and take into account the fact that these large agencies are having to charge a high amount because of high rents and everything else that comes with running a big agency.
I'm seeing a lot of freelancers collaborating. So client comes on, especially with a freelancer that they trust. That freelancer usually has a network of other people that they trust to deliver a good service on another platform. And I'm finding more and more kind of freelancers are actually collaborating, which I think's good because
Yeah.
they're getting the highly skilled people and they're working together. So it's like an accelerant thrown on your business. Where fine if you go to the larger agencies, unless you're one of their highest spenders, you're going to get their kind of junior, like just trained up person that's going to be spending your money and not necessarily providing you much value at all. So yeah, if you can work with a lot of people that have been in the game for a long time with proven results and have a good track record of getting client results as well, and then working with their network, I see that really coming through a lot this year. And I mean, basically, that's my whole business because I only take on referrals. So through partners, I'll only work with clients if they've been referred from a partner. One, it cuts the sales cycle for me and kind of there's a level of trust there before I even start because, if they've been working with this other person for a period of time and they trust them, I've got to uphold my end of the bargain and, not let that person down that's kind of referred me another client. But I'm getting more work through that recently than any time ever. So it's kind of just showing to me, hey, more and more businesses are willing to do this now, and more freelancers are collaborating on certain projects. And yeah, it's a bit of change in the tide. And I think yeah, the larger agencies, I don't think they will struggle because they make a lot of money, but I think they will become a lot leaner. I think their
Yeah, I
profit
think,
margins will grow exponentially over the next year or two.
and
Yeah.
they see that.
Don't get me wrong, some people still want that because they want one touch point. So I've tried to limit that with the clients that I refer. Like I will generally still be their touch point for everything and I'll liaise with the freelancer that I've brought on. So yeah, it can come down to what the client wants to, because I definitely have had some clients that just want one touch point. They don't want to be
Yeah,
dealing with five or six
yeah, it's a management
freelancers.
headache, isn't it?
Yeah, I
And
think
everything
yeah,
kind of goes through him.
it depends on the business too. If it's just the business owner, then yeah, the one touch point can be really beneficial to them. I think if the business that you're working with is much bigger and they've got a marketing manager, I think that's when the marketing manager is usually willing to manage the freelancers
Yeah.
that are working with their business.
So it's,
What kind of, oh, what were you about to say, Charles? Yeah, I mean, like I've been through, like I've consumed a lot of content on email marketing, but like the themes all remain the same. And I think there's probably, I've got my document here actually, there's probably, and like in our higher end service offering, there's kind of for the flows, there's probably like eight or nine flows that I'm really focusing in on, which may seem like a lot. And between all those flows, it's like a 50 email build out. So it's a pretty big setup. But you've got your welcome flow, which is when someone signs up, they go through like a welcome series of introducing you to the brand. You've got a site abandonment flow. So site abandonment is when they've kind of reached your homepage and just bounced off. Um, they haven't visited any product yet. You've got the browse abandonment, which is when they have visited a product but didn't add it to cart or anything like that. You've got your abandoned cart and abandoned checkout flows, which are pretty self-explanatory. You've got your post-purchase flows, which is really important in like reducing like post-purchase regret, which is a real thing. So introducing them to the brand, how they use the products, and thanking them for their purchase, all that. You've got the sunset flow, which is basically putting flows in place to weed out people that just never open your emails at all or have no engagement with your brand, to get rid of them, to keep your open rates high, and deliverability in a good position, which is going to be very important over the next. I think Klaviyo is changing their pricing on February 19. You used to only get charged for the active clients that you sent to. For example, I've got one client that's got 22,000 email subscribers. We only actively send to 12,000 of them, but Klaviyo are changing their pricing, so now they're going to charge you for the 22,000 that you've got, whether you're using them or not. So cleaning up your list is going to be a lot more important over the next 2 weeks even. VIP flows, so actually sending out specific promotions and offerings to people that have bought from your site multiple times, that or whatever threshold you've determined to be like your VIP clients. And then replenishment flows, which I spoke about a little bit earlier. So they're kind of the main flows that I'm focusing on at the moment, and we'll probably look to do, depends what package the client's on, but anywhere between 1 to 4 campaign emails a week.
out
Yeah,
of
there is a lot. That's what people don't realize. They're like, I've got my welcome flow. They'll have one flow running, and majority of the time their welcome flow is like 3 emails long. So compare having that into your business to having automated flows that are basically covering 50 emails on autopilot and running for your business, compared to, a 3 email welcome flow. If the ballpark that you want to aim for email marketing is between 20 to 40% revenue. So if you're looking at your stats and your email marketing is bringing in like 5% of your overall revenue, that's where this kind of thing you can benefit from, or at least implement at a higher level to really increase that bottom line revenue.
currently.
And the
Yeah.
one that we're testing this on.
Yeah.
No other client has it set up. So well, they do email marketing, like a couple of some. I'd say 60% of my clients don't even do email marketing. And then the ones that do focus a lot on their campaigns for promotions, so they don't have like a lot of flow set up. But yeah, from everything that I've been researching and implementing over the last 2 years in email, I haven't seen anyone set up like efficiently to drive a lot of revenue. There's so much opportunity in the email marketing space because people it's like that. It's a forgotten channel almost. So
Yeah.
Yeah, people don't realize that it's basically like setting this up and having another person selling your product in your business for you, and how important it actually is to bottom line revenue. I mean, what other thing can you implement in your business and say, perfect, this will make up 20 to 40% of our revenue now without spending a hell of a lot of money on ads? Yeah, the
And you're
flows,
not.
so the flows, it's a long setup time, and then you've kind of got to monitor it and split test them all and, really hone in to get the most out of it. Especially if you're working with brands like doing over 500,000 plus a month. I mean, a small percentage increase can make a big revenue difference to brands operating kind of at that revenue level. And then the stuff that isn't automated is the campaigns. So campaigns are basically emails that you write up and then go out to a selected part of your audience, or potentially even your whole audience. Compared to flows, like they actually have to do an action that triggers their addition to that flow, if it makes sense. So they're the difference between campaigns and flows. For example, someone will only get the abandoned cart flow if they've added things to their cart and then not gone ahead with the purchase. So then they'll fall into that particular flow and they'll get put through an email marketing sequence trying to get them back to finish that purchase, basically. Yeah, for email marketing, the main things you want to focus on are obviously flows and campaigns, and then your deliverability, your audience segmentation, which means, making sure you're sending to engaged people, having your VIP segments. Like, you could segment down to the most granular level, like people that have purchased from this particular product category. We want to send them. We want to. So, I mean, your options are limitless on segmenting, and I think the brands that segment really well will do well in 2025. You want a good like welcome pop up on your website that converts it at like a minimum of 6%. So if it's not converting at 6%, I'd probably look at changing up the messaging or changing up what the pop-up looks like or experimenting with a few other things. So yeah, we go the pop-up, the flows, the campaigns, the deliverability, the segmentation, and then basically the cleaning out of your list too. So there's more involved in email marketing than what people might think. It's not simply just writing the email for the day and sending it out. I wish it was. I wish it was that easy. There's a lot of build out, a lot of design, a lot of audience research, getting your branding on point with your emails too. So if you don't already have one and you are working with an email marketing freelancer or company, try to get a brand style guide done before working with them. It'll just make your emails look a lot better from the start if you're able to hand over something like that. But yeah, I haven't really been excited about adding anything to the business recently, but I'm actually quite excited about adding this email marketing system to the business because I think it's going to bring some dramatic results, and I'm really looking forward to sharing some more other than the systems that we've implemented on our current Google Ads clients. I feel
Marketing
like
sounds like Jimmy might be your man.
I feel like Charles will see the results in a couple of months and be like, you know what, I might add an email marketing arm to my business. Well,
It certainly helped
it's
with that push.
because and the people that know a lot about e-commerce are the ones that are testing the most. So like I'm always testing different things, seeing what's working, trying to get the most out of the e-commerce stores for my clients, both on Google Ads and small changes on the website. And yeah, anything that can be tested or tried or added, yeah, I'm willing to test it and see what works. So yeah, there's so much to do still on the clients that I work with, even on the SEO front, the naming the products, fixing up all the product data, getting categories better sorted. Like there's always some. This is what I say when someone says to me, "Oh, my website's finished." I'm like, "Your website's never finished."
Name of the game.
100%. I think yeah, we're nearly at an hour, man. That went quick. First one back, and I think we covered a lot tonight.
Yep.
Um, from AI to Trump's impact on TikTok and to
Everything in between.
email marketing, Google Ads, SEO. Yeah, everything in between. The e-commerce marketing community on Facebook. I was actually thinking of rebranding it. I haven't even told you this, Charles. I was thinking of rebranding it Shopify Marketing Secrets just to see if more people find it or not. But in like Facebook search. But yeah, we can chat about that later. I'll probably decide before this episode goes live. All right, guys. We'll catch you. We'll catch you next week.